In the early decades of the 20th century, New York City was transforming into a symbol of ambition, power, and opportunity. Skyscrapers were rising, industries were expanding, and in the middle of this rapidly growing city, a family was quietly building the foundation of what would one day become a global name. Donald John Trump was born in 1946 in Queens, New York, into a family already deeply involved in real estate. His father, Fred Trump, was a disciplined and highly successful real estate developer, known for building affordable housing projects across New York City. From a very young age, Donald was exposed to construction sites, business meetings, and the language of deals. As a child, Donald Trump often accompanied his father to building projects. He watched how land turned into opportunity, how numbers turned into power, and how confidence could shape outcomes. Fred Trump believed in toughness, discipline, and control, and these principles would leave a lasting mark on his son. Donald Trump was energetic, assertive, and highly competitive. His parents recognized early that he needed structure. At the age of 13, he was sent to the New York Military Academy. There, discipline was strict, mistakes were not tolerated, leadership had to be earned. At the academy, Trump learned to command attention, to stand his ground, and to compete relentlessly. He was not the quiet observer, he wanted to lead. Those years shaped his confidence and reinforced his belief that strength and dominance were essential to success. After graduating, Trump attended Fordham University before transferring to the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania, one of the most prestigious business schools in the country. At Wharton, he studied real estate, finance, and negotiation. But more importantly, he began to shape his vision. While many of his peers were focused on traditional corporate careers, Trump saw something bigger. He didn't want to manage properties quietly in the outer boroughs. He wanted Manhattan, he wanted the skyline, he wanted his name to be seen. In the early 1970s, New York City was in trouble. Crime was rising. Buildings were decaying. Investors were leaving. But Donald Trump saw opportunity where others saw collapse. He convinced his father to let him expand into Manhattan, a risky move at the time. One of his first major successes was the transformation of the Grand Hyatt Hotel near Grand Central Terminal. The building was old and failing, but Trump negotiated massive tax breaks, financing deals, and government support. When the Grand Hyatt reopened, it was a symbol of rebirth, not just for the hotel, but for Trump himself. The media took notice. Donald Trump understood something crucial. Success wasn't just about making money, it was about being seen making money. He cultivated his public image aggressively. He spoke confidently to reporters. He positioned himself as bold, fearless, and unstoppable. In the 1980s, Trump became a defining figure of American excess and ambition. The construction of Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue was more than a real estate project. It was branding on a massive scale. Gold interiors, luxury design, and his name in enormous letters across the building. Trump Tower became his headquarters and his symbol. Donald Trump was no longer just a businessman, he was a celebrity. Magazine covers, television interviews, and talk shows followed. He represented wealth, confidence, and dominance. To many Americans, he embodied the idea of winning. But the rise was not without risk. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Trump expanded aggressively into casinos, hotels, and luxury ventures, especially in Atlantic City. The Trump Taj Mahal was announced as the largest casino in the world. It was grand, dramatic, and incredibly expensive. Then came the downturn. Debt piled up, revenue slowed, the headlines changed. Trump faced bankruptcy not once but multiple times. Newspapers questioned whether his empire was collapsing. Critics declared his downfall inevitable. For a moment, Donald Trump was no longer the symbol of unstoppable success. He was a cautionary tale. But retreat was never part of his identity. Trump renegotiated debt. He confronted banks directly. He leveraged his name, his brand, and his ability to command attention. Slowly, methodically, he rebuilt. Not every business survived, but Trump did. By the early 2000s, his image had shifted again. This time, not just as a businessman, but as a media figure. In 2004, Trump became the star of a reality television show called The Apprentice. The boardroom, the suits, the phrase, "You're fired." The show was a massive success. Millions of Americans watched Donald Trump every week. To many viewers, he wasn't a controversial figure. He was the ultimate boss, decisive, direct, unapologetic. The Apprentice reintroduced Trump to a new generation. His brand became stronger than ever. His books sold millions of copies. His name expanded globally. At the same time, Trump increasingly commented on politics. He criticized politicians, questioned leadership, and positioned himself as an outsider, someone who wasn't controlled by the system. Behind the scenes, the idea of running for office was no longer a joke. In 2015, Donald Trump made a decision that stunned the political world. He announced his candidacy for President of the United States. Descending the escalator of Trump Tower, surrounded by supporters and cameras, Trump launched a campaign unlike anything America had seen. His language was blunt. His style was confrontational. He challenged both political parties, the media, and long-standing norms. Many dismissed him as a publicity stunt. But rallies grew larger. Supporters grew louder. Trump spoke directly to voters who felt ignored, angry, and disconnected from traditional politics. He promised strength, control, and disruption. The media coverage was relentless. Controversy followed every statement, but Trump dominated attention, and in modern politics, attention is power. Through debates, scandals, and fierce opposition, Trump continued forward. Against predictions, he secured the Republican nomination. Election night in 2016 was tense. As results came in, state by state, the map began to turn red. Analysts were stunned. Commentators struggled to explain it. Donald Trump had won. From real estate developer to television star, from billionaire businessman to President of the United States. His journey defied conventional logic. On Inauguration Day, Donald Trump stood on the steps of the Capitol and took the oath of office. The outsider had entered the most powerful office in the world. Inside the White House, his presidency began with the same qualities that defined his career: confidence, confrontation, and a refusal to follow tradition. Supporters saw a fighter. Critics saw chaos. But no one could deny one thing: Donald Trump had reshaped American politics forever. His journey was not a straight line. It was built on risk, failure, reinvention, and relentless belief in self-image. From the streets of Queens to the Oval Office, Donald Trump's story is not just about politics or business. It is a story about ambition, about power, and about how one man turned his name into a force that changed history.